Imagine a deep, comforting blue beginning to fill your awareness. Not a color you see with your eyes, but one you feel in your very being. It is the blue of twilight seas, of profound tranquility. Let this color wash over you, a gentle weight that soothes and settles. You are not sinking, but simply letting go, allowing yourself to drift into a place of deep, silent peace, suspended in the quiet hum of possibility. This is the threshold. The water around you is a reality now, an embrace of deep, sapphire silence. You are suspended, weightless, within the cockpit of the Argo, your personal submersible. For weeks, this has been your world. The gentle hum of the recycler, the soft glow of the instrument panels, and the profound, absolute darkness of the abyssal plain outside your viewport. The mission was one of cartographic monotony, charting the vast, supposedly empty expanse of the ocean floor. But your heart, a restless mariner, had always hoped for more. You always felt a pull, a song just at the edge of hearing, emanating from the deep. Today, the song became a clear note. It started not as a sound, but as an anomaly on the sub's gravimetric sensors, a pattern of impossible density and structure where only silt and rock should lie. Then came the light. You switched off the Argo's powerful external lamps, plunging yourself into the familiar blackness. Yet it wasn't total. A faint, ethereal glow pulsed from below, a soft turquoise heartbeat in the crushing dark. It was a light that had no business existing here, miles beneath the sun's faintest touch. Compelled by a curiosity that overrides every protocol, you guide the Argo downwards, following the gentle pulse. The temperature gauge, which had held steady at a near freezing temperature for a month, begins to climb. 1 degree, then 2. The water outside the viewport seems to shimmer, losing its murky quality and becoming a strange, crystalline clarity. The feeling isn't one of impending danger, but of homecoming. A strange ancestral memory tickles the back of your mind. Then you see it. Emerging from the deep is a structure that defies all logic. It is a gate, a magnificent archway carved from a material that seems to be a fusion of polished obsidian and mother of pearl. It is impossibly vast, large enough for a leviathan to pass through, and its surface is etched with spiraling glyphs that glow with that same soft turquoise light. They seem to shift and flow like living script. Bioluminescent flora, unlike any you have ever cataloged, cling to its sides, pulsing in time with the archway's light. There is no decay, no sign of age. It feels as though it were completed only yesterday. You cut the thrusters, letting the Argo drift silently before the colossal edifice. A profound awe fills your chest, silencing the analytical part of your brain. This is no ruin. This is not a forgotten relic. It feels active. Sleeping, perhaps, but certainly not dead. A low, resonant hum vibrates through the submersible's hull, a welcoming tone that seems to speak directly to your soul, calming your racing heart and replacing it with a sense of wonder so pure it brings tears to your eyes. Slowly, carefully, you engage the thrusters again, your hands moving as if guided by an unseen will. You pilot the Argo forward, leaving the cold, dead abyss behind and passing through the cerulean gate. The moment you cross the threshold, the world transforms. The oppressive weight of the ocean vanishes, replaced by a gentle, buoyant pressure. The water is as warm and clear as a tropical lagoon. And before you, stretching into the shimmering, illuminated distance, lies a city of soaring crystal spires and gracefully curved domes, a metropolis of silent light, waiting for you. The Argo glides through the impossibly clear water, no longer a vessel invading a hostile environment, but a guest drifting through a grand hall. Your console flickers with impossible readings. The external pressure is negligible. The temperature, a stable, pleasant 25 degrees Celsius. And the water composition, your spectrometer can't even process it. It's less like water and more like liquid light, a medium that supports and sustains rather than crushes. Instinctively, you reach for the helmet release on your dive suit, a wild impulse screaming that the barrier is no longer necessary. You resist, but the feeling lingers. The air in your lungs feels stale compared to the promise of what lies outside. You pilot the submersible down what can only be described as a grand boulevard, flanked by crystalline towers that soar into the luminous aqua-colored sky. They are not uniform. Some are slender and sharp like quartz shards. Others curve and flow like frozen waterfalls. Translucent bridges, like spun glass, arc between them, and great dome-like structures nestle at their bases, glowing with a soft, internal luminescence. The source of the city's light becomes clear. It is the city itself. Every structure, every archway, every cobblestone on the vast plazas below pulses with a gentle turquoise energy. It's a metropolis powered by its own skeleton. There is no movement. No schools of fish dart between the spires. No Atlantean vessels patrol the avenues. The silence is absolute. Yet it isn't the silence of a tomb. It is the charged silence of a place holding its breath, waiting. The resonant hum you felt at the gate is stronger here, a constant vibration you feel not in your ears, but in your bones. It is the city's lifeblood, its silent song. Your eyes are drawn to the city's heart. A central spire, far larger and more intricate than the others, dominates the skyline. It is a cathedral of light and crystal. Its surface a complex lattice of glowing filaments that pulse in a slow, rhythmic cadence, like a colossal sleeping heart. You feel an undeniable pull towards it, a magnetic lure that transcends curiosity. It is the source, the nexus of this impossible place. You engage the thrusters, your course set for the great spire. As you draw closer, the Argo's systems begin to react. The lights in your cockpit flicker in sync with the spire's pulse. The controls under your hands grow stiff, unresponsive. A warning flashes on your screen. External energy field interference. Before the console goes dark, then reboots, its screen now displaying a single elegant glyph that mirrors those you saw on the gate. You are no longer piloting the Argo. You are being piloted. The submersible turns, aligning itself perfectly with an aperture that has opened near the spire's base, a seamless iris of light. You are being drawn inside, a willing captive to the silent, welcoming machine. The transition is impossibly smooth. The Argo glides through the luminous iris into a chamber of breathtaking scale. There is no splash, no rush of water. Instead, a shimmering field of energy envelops the submersible, repelling the ocean as the aperture seals shut behind you with a seamless whisper of light. You are in a dry, resonant space. The Argo settles onto a crystalline platform with a faint sigh of equalizing pressure, its engines falling silent for the first time since your descent. The city's hum is magnified here, no longer a deep thrum in your bones, but a complex, multi-layered harmony that seems to emanate from the very air you now breathe. A moment of absolute stillness passes. You are a specimen in a jar of impossible crystal. Then, the Argo's main hatch unseals itself with a soft chime, a sound entirely alien to its standard operational noises. It's an invitation. The sub's internal sensors flash green. Atmosphere is breathable, pressure stable, temperature a pleasant warmth. The air carries a scent you can't place, like ozone after a lightning strike, mingled with the faint, clean smell of salt and wet stone. Hesitantly, you leave the pilot's seat and stand before the open hatch. Stepping out of the submersible feels like stepping into a dream. The platform beneath your boots is warm, pulsing with the same gentle rhythm as the spire itself. The chamber is vast, a cathedral of light whose ceiling is lost in a constellation of glowing geometric patterns. In the center of the chamber, directly ahead, the light begins to coalesce. Thousands of tiny motes of energy, like fireflies of turquoise light, swirl and dance, drawing together. They spin into a vortex and then slowly elongate, forming a vaguely humanoid silhouette. It has no face, no distinct features, just a shimmering, elegant form of pure energy that hovers silently a dozen meters away. It does not speak, yet a voice fills your mind. It isn't a sound, but a pure concept, a wave of understanding that washes over you, clear and precise. Seeker, welcome. The glyph from your console materializes in the air between you and the being. It pulses, and with each pulse, another layer of information unfolds in your consciousness. This is not a city of the dead. It is a library, an archive, a dormant consciousness waiting for a mind capable of hearing its song. Your arrival was no accident. The resonant frequency of your own thoughts, your unique blend of curiosity and discipline, acted as the key that turned in a lock you never knew existed. You were called. The light form turns its featureless head towards a towering archway on the far side of the chamber, an exit that glows with an inviting, deeper blue. The mental voice comes again, a feeling of gentle but firm purpose. The record awaits. The heart requires an echo. Follow. It begins to glide towards the archway, a silent, luminous guide. Behind you lies the Argo, your only link to your world. Before you lies the absolute unknown, an invitation to the very heart of the greatest mystery in human history. The choice is yours, but it barely feels like a choice at all.
Your feet move before your mind fully consents, a magnetic pull drawing you away from the familiar hum of the Argo and into the profound blue glow of the archway. The luminous being doesn't look back, its trust in your decision absolute. As you pass through the threshold, the world dissolves into a cascade of sapphire light. It's not a physical transition, but a sensory one. The pressure of the deep ocean vanishes. The low hum of the spire is replaced by a symphony of chimes, so subtle they feel more like a thought than a sound. You emerge into a space that defies geometry. You are standing on a walkway of solidified light that winds through an impossible forest. Instead of trees, colossal crystalline structures rise from an unseen floor, branching out like ancient boughs. Each crystal is a universe of its own, containing swirling galaxies of light and intricate shifting patterns. This is the library. Not shelves of books, but a living ecosystem of knowledge, a silent forest of frozen thoughts. Your guide glides to a halt before a crystal no larger than yourself. Unlike the others, its inner light is a soft, warm gold, reminiscent of a sunrise. It pulses gently, expectantly. The mental voice returns, softer this time, imbued with a sense of reverence. This is a memory, a life, an echo of a question you have always carried. Touch, listen with more than your ears. Hesitantly, you reach out. Your fingertips, still clad in the thin material of your suit's glove, brush against the smooth, warm surface of the crystal. The contact sends a jolt through your entire being. The forest of light vanishes. The chamber is gone. You are somewhere else, someone else. You see through eyes not your own. You feel the sun on skin that has never known a diving suit. Below you, a city of impossible grace and beauty hums with life, its structures integrated seamlessly with the living ocean. You feel a profound connection to it all, a sense of belonging that resonates to the core of your soul. Then the perspective shifts. You feel a tremor, not in the earth, but in the consciousness of your people. A dissonance, a fear. A great debate is taking place, a choice between retreating further into their ethereal existence or engaging with the nascent, chaotic consciousness of the younger species beginning to dot the continents above. You feel the sorrow of a coming sundering, the knowledge of an impending cataclysm that is not geological, but philosophical. The choice to descend, to become a dormant memory, a song waiting for a listener. Just as quickly as it began, the vision recedes. You stumble back from the crystal, your own heartbeat roaring in your ears. The golden light within the crystal dims to a gentle sleeping glow. You are back in the library, but you are not the same. You didn't just see a record, you experienced a life. The light form waits patiently.
The echo found its voice in you, it communicates, a sense of satisfaction in its tone. But a single voice is not the choir. Others sleep. They must be awakened. It turns, gliding deeper into the crystalline forest, towards a far larger, more brilliant source of light. You place one foot in front of the other, the articulated joints of your suit a clumsy echo of the fluid grace you just inhabited. The light form glides effortlessly ahead, a silent beacon leading you through winding avenues of crystal trees that chime with your passage. The air, recycled and sterile within your helmet, feels utterly alien compared to the memory of the living, breathing ocean on your skin. That memory, that life, is a phantom limb you can still feel, an ache for a home you never knew. The forest of light opens into a vast circular chamber. Your breath catches, fogging the inside of your visor. In the center of the space floats a colossal crystal, a heart of pure, solidified light easily the size of your submersible. It pulses with a slow, rhythmic thrum you feel not in your ears, but in the marrow of your bones. This is the source, the nexus. Thousands of faint luminous threads extend from it, connecting to every smaller crystal in the library, creating a web of dormant potential. The heart dreams, communicates the guide, its form shimmering at the edge of the chamber. But it cannot sing alone. It requires a weaver. The expectation is clear. It is directed at you. You approach the nexus, dwarfed by its scale. The memory of the vision is still sharp, the muscle memory of creation still tingling in your thoughts. You remember the feeling, not of commanding, but of harmonizing, of becoming one with the crystal and the coral, of suggesting a form through sound. But how do you, in this clunky shell of technology, replicate such an intimate act? Closing your eyes, you try to shut out the hum of your suit's life support and the hiss of the recycler. You search for the silence you experienced in the vision, the deep, resonant peace from which creation was born. You try to hum, but the sound is a dead, muffled thing inside your helmet, absorbed by the padding. Frustration pricks at you, a discordant note in this place of perfect harmony. Not with your throat, the guide's thought voice nudges, gentle but firm. With your core, with the echo inside you. The echo, the architect. You focus on that feeling again, the sense of profound belonging, of knowing the crystal as a part of yourself. You reach out, not with your hand this time, but with your will. You imagine a single, perfect note, the one that shaped the spire in your vision. You pour your intent, your memory, your very consciousness into that silent sound. For a moment, nothing happens. Then a low vibration answers from the heart crystal. It resonates with the note in your mind. The colossal nexus brightens, and across the chamber, one of the thousands of crystalline threads connecting it to the library flares with brilliant golden light. It traces a path away from the nexus, illuminating a new corridor through the forest, leading to a specific distant crystal that now pulses with an expectant glow.
The light form drifts closer, a sense of approval radiating from it. The song has begun. A sleeper hears the first note. Follow the melody, awaken the choir. The path of light beckons, a clear invitation into the unknown depths of Atlantis's sleeping mind. You take a breath you don't need. The sound of it a distant thunder against the profound silence of your task. The golden thread of light hangs in the water before you, a solid, unwavering path through the alien garden. As you propel yourself forward, the coral formations around you seem to react to its passage. Polyps of pearlescent blue and soft violet unfurl as the light nears, their tendrils waving gently as if in greeting. Schools of tiny silver fish, like scattered fragments of a mirror, dart alongside the beam, their scales catching its glow and scattering it in 1,000 fleeting sparks. It feels less like you're moving through a dead city, and more like you're traversing the active neural pathways of a dreaming god. The journey isn't long, but it's disorienting. The logic of three-dimensional space feels secondary to the path's will. It weaves around colossal, silent structures and through archways carved from living, stone-like sponges. Finally, the path terminates, bathing a secluded grotto in its warm, honeyed light. At its center stands the crystal the Nexus had chosen. It's larger than the others in the immediate vicinity, perhaps 10 meters tall, but it looks muted. Its facets are dull, coated in a fine gray film like dust or calcification, and a palpable aura of stillness surrounds it. This is the sleeper. You drift before it, the light from the Nexus beam illuminating the motes of sediment that dance in the water between you. Remembering the guide's words, you close your eyes and reach out with your mind once more. You summon the single, perfect note of creation, the one that resonated with the heart crystal, and push it towards the dormant giant. A faint tremor runs through the water. A few flakes of the gray film drift from the crystal surface, and a deep, low hum answers you, but it's a groaning, sluggish sound. It's the sound of a voice thick with sleep, unable to properly form a word. The crystal doesn't awaken. It merely stirs. A single word does not make a song, the guide's thoughts whisper at the edge of your perception. The spire you remembered was not just a shape, it was a purpose. Why was it built? What did it feel? The question hangs in your mind. You search the architect's memory, going deeper than the physical act of creation. You feel the intention behind it. The spire was a resonator, designed to gather the faint light of the distant surface and amplify it, to sing a song of life and growth to the gardens below. It was an act of nurturing, of love. Holding that complex emotion, that blend of purpose, care, and hope, you reach out again. This time it is not a single note you project, but a flowing sequence, a melody that tells the spire. You send the feeling of yearning for light, the joy of connection, the satisfaction of providing for others. The dormant crystal shudders. The gray film cracks and dissolves into the water like mist. A clear, resonant tone, a perfect fifth above the Nexus's hum, erupts from its core. The grotto is flooded with brilliant cyan light, and from this awakened crystal, a new thread of energy lances out, connecting to the central nexus and intertwining with your golden path. The choir has its second voice, and together they illuminate yet another path deeper into the city's heart.
The resonance of the two awakened crystals washes over you, a physical pressure of pure sound that seems to vibrate in your very bones. The golden light of your own will and the bright scion of nurturing purpose now twist around each other, forming a new path forward. This third beam is a vibrant turquoise, a river of light that flows not downward into gardens, but horizontally, away from the central nexus and into a previously unseen district of the city. You follow its pull. The architecture changes as you drift along the new current. The organic, flowing lines of the residential spires and garden grottos give way to grand, austere structures defined by perfect geometry and immense scale. You pass between towering colonnades that could support mountains and over silent plazas where statues of stern-faced thinkers and lawmakers still stand watch, their stone eyes staring into the unchanging dark. This was the city's heart of order, of intellect. The turquoise path ends, pouring its light into a vast enclosed dome.
The interior is breathtaking. Unlike the natural caverns, this is a perfect hemisphere. Its curved walls lined with tens of thousands of empty, crystalline niches that glitter faintly in the new light. It is a library built for a race of giants, and you feel a profound sense of loss for the knowledge that once filled it. In the exact center of the chamber rests the third sleeper. It is no raw, powerful crystal like the others. This one is a flawless octahedron, its facets so perfectly cut and polished that they seem to absorb the light rather than reflect it. A thin crystalline lattice, like frozen spider webs, coats its surface. A city is more than stone and light, the guide whispers, its voice softer now, more reverent. It is a promise, a shared understanding. What is the architecture of a law? What is the foundation of a truth? You understand. The memory needed is not one of physical creation. You delve back into the architect's mind, past the designs and the tools, into the quiet moments spent within this very chamber. You feel the architect's reverence not for their own work, but for the accumulated wisdom it was built to protect. You feel their connection to every citizen of Atlantis through the shared laws and histories stored here. This was the city's mind, its memory. Holding this concept, this abstract, beautiful structure of shared thought, you reach out. You don't project a single note or a simple melody. You project a framework. You send the idea of axioms and proofs, of justice balanced on a scale, of a story with a beginning, middle, and end. You build a cathedral of pure logic in your mind and offer its silent, intricate music to the dormant crystal. The web of frost on its surface doesn't melt, it sublimates, vanishing in an instant. The octahedron flashes with a light so pure and violet, it feels like the color of thought itself. A chord, complex and layered with 1,000 harmonious tones, rings through the dome, the sound of 1,000,000 books being opened at once. The violet beam lances out, a thread of pure intellect joining the nexus.
The combined light of the three crystals now illuminates the city in staggering detail. And before you, three distinct paths now beckon, leading to wonders you cannot yet imagine. The final perfect chord from the Chamber of Laws fades, but the light remains. The three beams, visceral red, oceanic blue, and intellectual violet, hold steady, their combined brilliance banishing every last shadow from the city's heart. Where the light strikes the grand plaza before you, the very ground transforms. Three distinct causeways shimmer into existence, unfurling from your feet like invitations. The path to your left is forged from a burnished coppery metal, its surface a breathtaking filigree of interlocking gears and elegant schematics. It radiates a gentle warmth and hums with a low, creative thrum, the ghost of 1,000 workshops. It curves gracefully towards a district of soaring, fluted towers and vast geode-like domes where things of beauty and function were once born. The central path descends, a spiraling ramp of solid, unmoving azure light. It is a frozen river of pure energy, cool to the senses and crackling with a contained immense power that makes the air around it feel tight and charged. It leads down, deep into the city's unseen foundations, towards the source of the lifeblood that once powered this civilization. To your right, the third path is paved with slabs of polished obsidian that seem to drink the light. Yet, as you watch, shimmering violet script flows across their surfaces. Axioms, poems, historical records, constantly rewriting themselves. The air here smells of ozone and ancient paper, a path leading to serene forums and grand libraries built for contemplation and debate. Creation, power, wisdom, the guide's voice resonates, no longer a whisper, but a clear, resonant statement. The three pillars upon which Atlantis stood. They are not separate, but woven into one another. To restore one is to begin the restoration of all. But a journey must begin with a single step. Where will you place your focus? What aspect of our soul do you wish to mend first? You feel the pull of all three. The allure of the raw energy humming beneath the city, the temptation of the universe's secrets written in violet script. But your hands still tingle with the memory of shaping abstract concepts into a tangible result. Your gaze is drawn irresistibly to the coppery path on the left, the one that promises to show you not just what the Atlanteans knew, but what they could make. You take a step onto the metal causeway. The surface is warm, and the thrumming vibration rises through the soles of your feet, resonating deep in your bones. It's the echo of a symphony, the percussive strike of the hammer, the legato draw of the sculptor's knife, the crescendo of the forge. As you walk, the schematics carved into the metal animate. Gears turn, levers shift, and miniature constructs of light rise from the plans, hover for a moment, and dissolve. You are walking on a road paved with pure inspiration. The path leads you into a vast open-air workshop, a courtyard of abandoned genius. Scattered around are half-finished marvels, a sculpted wing of feathered opalescent metal,
a loom threaded with fibers of captured light, an intricate armillary sphere whose crystalline rings track constellations you do not recognize. In the center of this courtyard stands a single colossal automaton, humanoid in shape, but easily 10 times your height. It is frozen mid-stride, one massive hand outstretched as if to receive a tool. Its articulated body is a masterpiece of graceful interlocking plates, but its crystalline eyes are dark and lifeless. It seems to be waiting for a command it never received, a silent monument to arrested potential. The artisan, the guide says, its voice laced with a profound sorrow. The hands of Atlantis. It built what we designed, powered by our will. Without it, knowledge is but theory, and power is but potential. It sleeps, and with it, our ability to act. The path forward is clear. To truly awaken Atlantis, you must first reawaken its hands. You approach the silent titan, craning your neck to see where its metallic skin meets the clouds. The sorrow the guide spoke of hangs heavy in the air, the palpable grief of a tool without a task, a hand without a mind to guide it. You circle its colossal, unmoving foot, running your hand along the cool, seamless metal. There are no bolts, no welds, only the smooth, flowing lines of a thing grown rather than built. Near its heel, you find what you're looking for, a low, circular pedestal rising from the coppery causeway. Its surface is covered in etched patterns that spiral inward, like a galaxy in miniature, drawing your eye to the center. There, embedded in a plate of milky crystal, are 2 perfect handprints, waiting. It does not answer to a switch or a lever, the guide whispers in your mind. It answers to purpose. The artisan is a conduit, a vessel for will. It requires an architect, a blueprint born not of ink, but of pure thought. You must give it something to make. This is the challenge, then. Not to find a key or a power source, but to become one. You take a deep breath, the air tasting of ozone and ancient dust, and place your palms against the crystalline impressions. They fit perfectly. For a moment, there is only the cool, smooth shock of the surface against your skin. Then a warmth spreads, a deep, resonant hum that travels up your arms and settles in your chest. The etched lines on the pedestal begin to glow with a soft internal light. Closing your eyes, you try to clear your mind as the guide instructed. You can't simply wish for the automaton to move. You must give it a specific, tangible directive, a blueprint. You think of the simplest, most fundamental component of any machine, a gear. You don't just picture it, you construct it in your mind's eye. You define its substance, a resilient, crystalline metal like the one beneath your feet. You set its diameter, the thickness of the disc. You envision the teeth, 24 of them, each one a perfect involute curve, designed for flawless transmission of power. You imagine the central bore for the axle, precise to a fraction of a millimeter. You pour all your focus into this single, perfect object, imagining it rotating, feeling the phantom weight of it, the satisfying cyclical motion as it turns. Suddenly, a deep groan echoes through the courtyard, the sound of a mountain shifting in its sleep. You open your eyes. High above, the outstretched hand of the artisan trembles. A flicker of sapphire light dances deep within its dormant eyes. Then, with an excruciatingly slow grinding of long silent mechanisms, one of its massive fingers, a digit larger than your entire body, curls inward by a hair's breadth. The movement is tiny, almost imperceptible, but it is undeniably real. The effort exhausts you. The light in the pedestal fades, the hum ceases, and the connection breaks. You pull your hands away, feeling mentally drained, as if you've just run a marathon. The giant is still once more, the flicker in its eyes gone, but the finger remains in its new position. It wasn't much, but it was a start. You found the spark. Now you must learn how to kindle it into a flame. The courtyard air feels heavy and still in the wake of your effort. A soft footfall on the crystalline pavement makes you turn. Lyra is there, her silver eyes fixed not on you, but on the artisan's slightly closed finger high above. A slow, thoughtful smile touches her lips. "A single gear," she says, her voice a low murmur. "Simple, elegant. You gave it a blueprint, not a command. Many fail to grasp that distinction. They try to force their will upon the city, but Atlantis does not respond to force. It listens to creators." She beckons you to follow, leading you away from the colossal statue and into a smaller domed structure you hadn't noticed before. Inside, the air hums with a gentle, latent energy. Workbenches line the curved walls, laden with intricate devices and unassembled components that gleam like captured starlight. This is a workshop, a place of smaller, more intimate creation. Lyra stops before a pedestal, much like the one outside, but smaller. On its surface rests a device resembling a miniature astrolabe, a series of concentric, crystalline rings studded with what look like polished gems. They are inert, motionless. You have proven you can shape a single thought into a physical form, she explains, gesturing to the device. But creation is more than a single part. It is a system, a flow. This is a chronometer. Your task is to make it move. But you will find that visualizing a dozen interacting parts is exponentially more difficult than imagining one. You place your hands on the cool interface beside the chronometer. The connection is instant this time, a familiar hum that welcomes you like an old friend. You close your eyes and begin to construct the machine in your mind. You picture the largest ring, its teeth. Then the next, smaller ring, calculating the ratio. You build the escapement mechanism, the power source, a tiny vibrating crystal at its heart. The mental architecture is complex, a lattice of interlocking logic. You pour your focus into it and push the thought forward. Nothing. The rings remain perfectly still. The gems stay dark. A wave of mental static washes over you, the feedback from a failed command. It feels like a poorly written line of code that refuses to compile.
You are building a body without a soul. Lyra's voice cuts through your frustration. You've described its form, but not its function. Tell it why it should move. What is its purpose? Purpose? You try again. This time, you don't start with the gears. You start with the concept of time itself. You picture the sun's arc across the sky, the gentle shift of the tides, the steady beat of your own heart. You envision a sequence, a rhythm, the unstoppable, elegant procession of one moment to the next. You don't just build the machine, you imbue it with this concept. You give it the singular purpose of measuring the unmeasurable. A soft click echoes in the room. You open your eyes. The outermost ring of the chronometer is turning, its movement so smooth it seems liquid. The inner rings spin at their own perfect paces, and the gems at their points pulse with a soft, rhythmic blue light, like a dozen tiny captured heartbeats. You haven't just activated it, you've given it life. A smile touches Lyra's lips, a rare and genuine expression that softens the ancient wisdom in her eyes. You see now, she says, her voice a low murmur that resonates with the chronometer's gentle pulse. You did not command the machine. You sang it the song of its own purpose. This is the first principle. Now you must learn the second, harmony. She gestures for you to follow, turning from the now living device and gliding towards an archway you hadn't noticed before. The light from beyond it shimmers, inviting you into the city's deeper secrets. You leave the silent workshop behind, the rhythmic blue glow of the chronometer, a silent testament to your breakthrough. You follow Lyra down a spiraling corridor, carved from a material that seems to drink the light. The air grows warmer, filled with a faint melodic hum that vibrates in your bones. You emerge onto a wide circular platform, suspended over a breathtaking chasm. Below, countless crystalline tubes crisscross in an impossible web, pulsing with internal light. Along the edges of your platform, several sleek, teardrop-shaped vessels rest in illuminated alcoves. They are crafted from the same pearlescent material as the city's walls, seamless and silent. Lyra stops beside one. This is a conduit rider, she explains. It travels the city's veins, carried on currents of pure energy. But the current will not carry an unwilling passenger, nor one who fights against it. You must attune yourself not just to the vessel, but to the entire network. You must become part of the flow. You place your hands on the rider's cool, smooth flank. The mental interface is familiar now, but the scale of it is staggering. It's not a single device you're connecting to. You feel the thrum of the entire city, a vast interconnected consciousness. Remembering your success with the chronometer, you focus on the rider's purpose, movement, travel. You push the command, a clear instruction to move forward, to enter the conduit before you. The vessel shudders violently. A discordant jolt of feedback slams into your mind, painful and sharp, and the rider settles back into silence, its inner light dimming. You are shouting at a river, trying to force it to change course, Lyra says, her tone patient. You cannot command the flow. You must join it. Listen to its song and add your own voice to the choir. You close your eyes again, shutting out the sight of the grand chasm and focusing inward. You let go of your desire to command. Instead, you listen. You feel the deep, steady rhythm of the city's power, the ebb and flow of energy through the conduits below. It is not a chaotic force, but a complex, harmonious symphony. You cease to think of yourself as a pilot and the vessel as a machine. You are a single thought, a single desire for a destination, and you release that thought into the symphony. You don't push, you offer. A deep, resonant hum answers you. It starts in the floor, travels up through your body, and into the vessel under your hands.
The rider's interior glows with a soft, welcoming light. A seamless opening irises open on its side. As you step inside, the interior conforms to your presence, and you feel the vessel lift gently from its mooring. It glides silently into the crystalline tube, and with a surge that is both exhilarating and perfectly smooth, you are swept into the current. The city of Atlantis unfolds around you, a dazzling panorama of impossible structures and radiant gardens, all viewed through the transparent walls of the conduit, a passenger on the city's very own lifeblood.
The world outside the conduit is a blur of impossible physics and breathtaking beauty. You pass through the heart of a spire that seems woven from solidified light, its internal chambers filled with strange, glowing flora. Below, you see Atlanteans, or at least their luminous forms, moving with unhurried grace through plazas suspended in the open air, connected by bridges of pure energy. Other riders, like sleek, silent teardrops of light, flow along adjacent conduits, sometimes pacing you for a moment before veering off into the city's intricate circulatory system. There is no sound of machinery, no feeling of propulsion, only the deep, resonant hum of the city itself, a constant song that you now feel a part of. You realize you are not merely a passenger. You are a blood cell carried through the veins of a living entity. Ahead, the conduit blossoms into a nexus, a web of countless branching paths shimmering with different colors. Some a vibrant emerald, others a deep crimson, still others a piercing sapphire. Your rider slows as it approaches the junction, awaiting your intent. It's a choice, but there are no signs, no map to guide you. The city does not have destinations. Lyra's voice murmurs in your mind, a soft counterpoint to the city's hum. It only has intentions. The flow will carry you where your query leads. What is it you truly seek? Her words clarify your purpose. You are not here as a tourist. You came for answers. Closing your eyes, you tune out the dazzling visuals and focus on the feeling that has driven you from the start. You don't think of a map or a name. You think of the gnawing curiosity about what happened here, the silence, the ghosts. You seek memory. You seek truth. You reach out with your mind, not with a command, but with a question, a heartfelt plea offered to the symphony of the city. You ask to understand. The rider responds instantly. There is no jolt, no sudden turn, just a seamless alignment with a new current. It glides into a channel that pulses with a soft silver light, like moonlight on water. The journey changes. The grand vistas of the city's exterior are replaced by something more abstract. Patterns of pure data, like shimmering threads of a celestial tapestry, flow alongside your vessel. It feels like you are traveling not through the physical space of the city, but through its very mind. The conduit eventually widens, depositing you into a cavernous, silent sphere. Gravity feels gentle, almost optional here. At the center of the vast space hangs a colossal, flawless crystal, and within it, constellations of light swirl and dance like captured galaxies. They are dense, bright, and impossibly ancient. The rider glides to a stop beside a floating crystalline platform, its door irising open with a soft chime. "You have arrived," Lyra says, her voice filled with a new solemnity. "The sanctum of echoes, the memory of Atlantis. Tread carefully. Not all memories wish to be remembered." You step from the rider onto the crystalline platform. It feels solid beneath your feet, yet it hums with a faint vibration that travels up through your bones, a resonance with the colossal crystal before you. The air in the sanctum is still and cool, carrying the scent of ozone and something else, something impossibly ancient, like the dust of fallen stars. There is no sound but the whisper-soft thrum of the great crystal, the heart of Atlantis's memory. The rider's door slides shut behind you with a nearly inaudible sigh, leaving you alone in the vast silent sphere. You are a solitary figure on a floating island, an audience of one before a library of souls. Lyra remains silent, understanding this is a step you must take on your own. You walk to the edge of the platform, which ends a few feet from the crystal's shimmering, undefined surface. It doesn't seem solid, but like a cohesive, slow-moving liquid. The constellations of light within swirl in hypnotic patterns, each point of light a life, a moment, a choice. A million forgotten voices are singing a silent chorus. How do you choose? How do you even begin to listen? Following an instinct you didn't know you possessed, you raise a hand. You don't aim for any particular light. You simply offer your presence, your willingness to bear witness. As your fingertips near the crystal's surface, a single bright spark of silver-blue light detaches from the swirling mass. It drifts lazily from the core, passing through the outer layer as if it were smoke, and floats directly towards your outstretched hand. It pulses gently like a firefly before touching your skin. There is no heat, no shock. There is only light. And then the light consumes you. The sanctum vanishes. You are standing in sunlight, warm and brilliant, on a balcony overlooking a city that breathes and sings. Towers of pearlescent crystal soar into a sky of impossible blue, connected by bridges of woven light. Below, citizens in robes of flowing, color-shifting fabric walk gracefully along green pathways, their laughter echoing in the clear air. You are not just seeing it, you are feeling it. The joy of this place, its deep, abiding peace, floods your senses. A child's hand slips into yours. You look down, but you don't see your own hand. You see one that is slender and elegant, and the child who holds it is a little girl with eyes the color of the sea. She laughs, a sound like tiny bells, and points at a sky manta gliding between the spires. The love you feel for her is overwhelming, a physical ache in your chest. It is not your love, but you feel it as if it were. Suddenly, a low thrum, discordant and deep, shivers through the city. The light on the bridge flickers. The child's hand tightens in yours, her laughter cut short. Across the balcony, a man, her father, your husband, looks up from a data scroll, a line of concern creasing his brow. The feeling of peace shatters, replaced by a cold spike of dread so potent it steals your breath. The memory resists you, the sorrow and fear within it trying to push you away, to keep its pain buried. You fight to hold on, to see more, to understand. Just as you steel yourself, the vision rips apart like tearing fabric. You are back on the platform, gasping, your own hand trembling in the still air. The silver blue light hovers before you for a moment longer, then retreats, rejoining the silent dance within the crystal. The echo of another's joy and the chilling premonition of her sorrow linger within you like a ghost. That was one voice, Lyra's voice says softly, her tone laced with a new kind of empathy. One moment. The truth you seek is not a single event, but a tapestry woven from countless lives. Are you prepared to witness more? The ghost of borrowed sorrow chills you to the bone, but it doesn't deter you. It fuels you. The joy you felt was real, and the family you briefly inhabited deserves to have their story known. You look at Lyra, the shimmering light of her form casting long, dancing shadows in the chamber, and give a slow, deliberate nod. There is no other choice. To turn back now would be to leave that woman, that child, that man, to their silent, crystalline fate. Lyra seems to understand your unspoken resolve. Her light pulses with a soft warmth, a gesture of encouragement. Your gaze returns to the central crystal, to the symphony of light swirling within. That first facet you touched now glows with a steady, gentle rhythm, a memory witnessed and at peace. But countless others flicker and pulse, agitated, their stories still trapped in a screaming loop. Your hand, guided by an instinct that isn't your own, reaches for a different facet, one that flickers with a frantic, erratic energy, like a failing light bulb. The moment your skin touches the cool, smooth surface, the world dissolves not into sunlight, but into the cold, sterile glow of technology. You are no longer the woman on the balcony. You are the man, her husband. The weight of responsibility sits heavy on your broad shoulders. The air here doesn't smell of flowers, but of ozone and the clean, sharp scent of charged energy. You stand in a circular chamber, the core conclave, where walls are not walls, but living displays of data. Elegant, flowing script cascades down the holographic screens, charting the lifeblood of the city. Energy distribution, atmospheric integrity, oceanic currents. But the numbers, usually a harmonious river of serene blue and green, are now stained with a venomous red. They flicker and spike, screaming a silent mathematical warning. This is what you were looking at on your data scroll. The thrum you felt on the balcony was no mere tremor, it was a death rattle. Before you, a vast projection of the city's power source, the heart of Atlantis, hangs suspended in the air. It's a complex, rotating lattice of light and energy, normally a beacon of stability. Now, a dissonance corrupts its perfect geometry.
A fracture, a dark, jagged line of null energy is spreading through its core. It is this flaw that sends the tremors through the city. The resonance cascade is accelerating, a voice says, tight with professional calm that barely conceals rising panic. Another scientist, a woman with silver streaks in her dark hair, gestures to a spiraling graph. The containment fields are fluctuating at 17% beyond acceptable parameters. Your own hands, his hands, fly across a console of light, trying to weave new energy patterns to create a buffer that will hold the decay at bay. It's like trying to patch a collapsing dam with thread. Your mind races, calculating probabilities, discarding failing theories. The dread is no longer a vague premonition, it is a calculated certainty. And through the cold terror of impending cataclysm, a single, warm image breaks through. Your wife's smile, your daughter's hand in hers, safe on the balcony. The thought is not a comfort, but a spur of agonizing fear. You have to fix this, for them. A piercing alarm cuts through the tense silence. On the projection of the heart, the null energy fracture splinters, branching out like black lightning. A tremor, far more violent than the first, shakes the very foundations of the conclave. Consoles spark. The lights of the city, visible through a high viewport, flicker violently, some extinguishing altogether. The vision shatters into a million pieces of light and sound, and you are thrown back into your own body. You stumble away from the crystal, the phantom sensation of a collapsing world still vibrating through your nerves. The metallic tang of ozone is sharp in your own throat. It was not an attack, Lyra's voice echoes in the sudden quiet. Not an enemy from without. It was a sickness, growing from within their greatest source of power, their own heart turned against them. The phantom energy of the vision recedes, leaving a cold hollowness in its wake. The scientist's desperate hope, his final, agonizing fear for his family, it clings to you like sea mist. You look at your own hands, half expecting to see them shimmer with the memory of light-based controls. They are just hands, but they feel heavy with a ghost's failure. Lyra waits, her expression unreadable in the dim light of the chamber. The knowledge you now carry is a burden, she says, her voice soft but clear. The Atlanteans were not defeated by an outside force. They were consumed by their own brilliance. Their heart was a star they chained, and its final broken beat shook their world to pieces. She turns and glides towards the chamber's exit, the light from her staff casting long, dancing shadows. Come, the oracle has shown you the cause. Now you must see the effect. We go to the conclave, the place where the heart was housed. It is the epicenter of the cataclysm, and if any answers remain in this city, they lie buried in its silence. You follow her out of the relative safety of the oracle's chamber and onto a grand promenade. The sight steals the air from your lungs. The city you glimpsed in the vision, a place of impossible grace and vibrant light, is now a corpse. The glowing lines that once traced elegant paths across plazas and up the sides of buildings are now erratic and weak. They pulse with a sickly, intermittent light, like the synapses of a dying brain.
Entire sections of the city are plunged into an abyssal darkness. Watch your step, Lyra warns. The city's power grid is in its death throes. The conduits are unstable. As if to prove her point, a section of the path ahead of you flares with blinding white light for a moment before dying completely, leaving a sizzling ozone-scented darkness. Navigating the ruins is a tense dance. You move from one pool of sputtering light to the next, crossing stretches of absolute blackness where the only sound is the unsettling groan of stressed metal and the distant, constant murmur of the ocean that has claimed this place. As you pass beneath a soaring, skeletal archway, a flicker of memory, not your own, surfaces. You see a vision of a sun-drenched balcony high above, a woman laughing as she lifts a small child into the air. The scientist's family. The image is gone as quickly as it came, a painful echo of the life that was lost here. Finally, you arrive before a structure that dwarfs all others. It is a colossal dome, fractured and dark, its surface a web of cracked crystal and blackened metal. A single massive entrance gapes open like a wound. From within, you can feel a low, resonant hum, a dissonant thrum that vibrates in your teeth and settles deep in your chest. This is the conclave, the tomb of the heart of Atlantis. Lyra stops at the threshold, turning to face you. The sickness started here, she says, her light illuminating the oppressive darkness within. Be ready for what it has left behind. You take a breath that feels thin and inadequate and step across the threshold. The air inside the conclave is cold, heavy with the scent of ozone and something else, something metallic and wrong, like burnt-out starlight. The resonant hum you felt outside is a physical force here, a pressure against your skin, a vibration that works its way into your bones. It's a sound that feels like a question tearing itself apart. Lyra's light cuts a steady, pale beam into the oppressive gloom, revealing a space of impossible scale. This was once the city's nexus, a cathedral of science and governance. Now it is a graveyard of ambition. Twisted walkways hang like broken ribs from the dome's curved walls. Enormous crystal displays, meant to mirror the heavens or display complex data streams, are now dark, shattered eyes staring into nothing. And everywhere, coating every surface like a predatory fungus, are growths of a jagged, non-reflective crystal. It is utterly black, seeming to devour the light that touches it. These crystals pulse with a faint internal violet light, their rhythm matching the discordant hum that fills the air. The corruption, Lyra states, her voice devoid of its usual warmth. The energy from the heart became aberrant. It no longer creates. It crystallizes. It consumes. She gestures with her light to a collapsed section of a walkway. The black crystal has swarmed over the metal, not just covering it, but seeming to convert it, its edges sharp and chaotically fractal. She leads you onto a narrow maintenance catwalk that seems marginally more stable than the others, a spindly bridge over a chasm of absolute darkness. As your foot touches the metal, your vision whites out. You are no longer you. You are the scientist standing in this very chamber,
but it is pristine and alive with light. Faces turn towards you, their expressions a mixture of anger and disbelief. You are risking a cascade failure. The resonance frequencies are unstable. His voice shouts, filled with a desperate, cracking panic.
"We have to shut it down!" A stern-faced woman on a central dais shakes her head. "The potential is too great to be stifled by your caution, Arion." The vision shatters. You stumble, your hand flying out to grip the railing of the catwalk, the cold metal a shocking anchor back to reality. Your heart hammers against your ribs. Arion, the scientist's name. You shake your head, trying to clear the phantom emotions, the lingering terror and frustration. As your senses return, you notice the black crystals near your hand are pulsing faster. The violet light within them brightens, and the hum sharpens to a piercing whine. They are reacting to you, to the memories you hold. They hunger for the ghost in your mind. "Careful," Lyra warns, her light flaring to push back the encroaching darkness. "The corruption is drawn to residual energy patterns, to memories. You are a beacon to it." You pull your hand back and hurry forward, away from the hungry crystals. The catwalk ends at a precipice, a grand circular balcony overlooking the heart of the conclave. Below, suspended in a web of blackened crystalline conduits, is a colossal sphere of cracked and darkened metal. It is the containment vessel for the heart of Atlantis, and from a gaping fissure in its side, the dissonant hum pours out like a torrent, a visible distortion shimmering in the air. The sickness has a source, and you know, with a certainty that chills you to the core, that you have to go down there. The chasm yawns before you, a throat singing a song of decay. The dissonant hum is a physical weight pressing on your chest and making the bones in your skull vibrate. There are no stairs, no ladders, only the sheer crystalline scarred walls of the vast chamber. Turning from the edge, your gaze sweeps across the circular balcony, searching for any way down. Your eyes land on a console set into the railing, its surface as dark and inert as the rest of the dead city. You approach it cautiously. It's featureless, a smooth slab of obsidian-like material. Hesitantly, you reach out, your fingers hovering just above the surface. As they near, a faint violet tracery flickers to life beneath, mirroring the veins on the back of your hand. You press your palm flat against it. Another jolt, less a vision and more a flood of pure information. Not a memory of a scene, but the muscle memory of an action performed 1,000 times. You understand. This isn't just a console, it's a gravitic modulator, keyed to the unique biosignature of high-ranking conclave personnel. A Rian signature, your signature. Without conscious thought, your fingers trace a complex pattern, channeling a sliver of your own energy into the console, just as you know he once did. The balcony shudders. A section of the floor just ahead detaches, humming with a low, steady thrum. It floats silently, a disk of pure, stable energy, bathing you in a soft white glow. It's a transport platform, a way down. "The systems are responding to you," Lyra murmurs, her own light pulsing with a mix of awe and trepidation, to the ghost you carry. You take a steadying breath and step onto the disc. The moment your feet are firmly planted, it begins its slow, graceful descent into the heart of the chamber. The air grows colder, thick with the smell of ozone and something else, something metallic and rotten.
The chaotic hum from the sphere below intensifies, no longer a single note, but a chorus of grating frequencies that scrape at the edges of your sanity. You drift past massive, blackened conduits that once pulsed with the lifeblood of the city. Now they are choked with the crystalline corruption, which seems to writhe sluggishly as you pass, drawn to your light and your life. Phantom shapes flit at the edge of your vision, fleeting after-images of the city's last desperate moments. The platform finally slows, docking with a metallic ring that encircles the equator of the colossal sphere. You are here. The sheer scale of the containment vessel is staggering, a moon of pitted, fractured metal. The fissure is directly in front of you, a jagged wound dozens of meters long. It is not empty. A storm of distorted air and shrieking sound pours from it. Looking closer, you see the source of the sickness isn't just a broken machine. Something is alive in there. From the deepest shadows of the crack, a single crystalline tendril, black as polished jet, unfurls with an unnatural slowness. It probes the air, twisting like a serpent, its tip glowing with a trapped, hungry violet light. It hasn't seen you yet, but you feel its alien awareness sweeping the space, hunting. There is no hiding. The moment the thought forms, the tendril snaps into focus, its tip swiveling to fixate on you with an unnerving, predatory intelligence. The violet light within it intensifies, pulsing with a hungry rhythm that matches the frantic beating of your own heart. It has found you. A high-pitched whine emanates from it, a sound that feels less like it enters your ears and more like it is born directly within your skull. An instinct that is not your own, a flash of calculated panic from the ghost in your soul, screams at you to move. You throw yourself sideways along the narrow walkway as the tendril lashes out. It strikes the spot where you stood a nanosecond before with a deafening crack, like a thunderclap and shattering obsidian. Shards of corrupted energy fly through the air, and where they touch the metal of the ring, the black crystal instantly begins to grow, like frost on a winter pane. The containment field is failing. Lyra's light flickers wildly, her voice strained against the psychic noise. It's using the core's own energy to breach it. Don't fight it. You can't. You must find the regulator. Another tendril, thicker and faster than the first, erupts from the fissure. It doesn't strike, but sweeps, aiming to knock you from the precarious ring into the abyss below. You drop, sliding under the attack, the foul wind of its passage tearing at your hair. The metallic tang in the air is stronger now, the taste of blood and decay. Your eyes, guided by a frantic urgency, scan the circumference of the sphere. The scientist's memory provides a blueprint, overlaying your vision with faint schematics. You're not looking for a weapon, but a tool, a port. And then you see it.
20 meters away, a recessed control nexus, its edges almost completely obscured by the parasitic crystalline growth. It's the primary diagnostic port, a direct interface with the core's regulatory systems. The first tendril rears back for another strike. You have seconds. You break into a desperate sprint, your feet ringing on the metal walkway. The entity shrieks, a wave of pure malice that makes your vision swim. It knows what you're trying to do. It surges forward, not just a tendril, but a wave of semi-solid shadow and crystal, seeking to engulf the nexus before you can reach it. You lunge, sliding the last few meters on your knees, the impact jarring your bones. You reach the port just as the shadow is about to consume it. Without hesitation, you slam your palm onto the cold, jagged surface of the crystal. Pain, electric and searing, shoots up your arm. The thing is a leech, and it immediately begins to drain your energy, your warmth, your very life. But you hold on, gritting your teeth, and push back with something deeper. You channel the ghost, the scientist's fierce, defiant will, focusing it into a single point of brilliant, cleansing light from your palm. The black crystal screams. For a moment, the sick violet is overwhelmed by the pure, white gold light of ancient Atlantis. A connection is forged. The panel hums to life beneath your hand, and your mind is violently plunged into a maelstrom of data, energy, and the vast, hateful consciousness of the parasite trapped within the machine. Your sense of self shatters, dissolving into a trillion points of light and sound. You are no longer in a physical space, but adrift in a digital ocean, a tempest of raw information. This is the mind of the great machine. Violet lightning, the signature of the parasite's hate, crackles all around you, forming jagged structures of corrupted logic. It is a scream that has no sound, a pressure that threatens to pulverize your consciousness into nothing. The entity's awareness is everywhere at once, a malevolent leviathan in the deep, and it turns its full, undivided attention upon you, the foreign body, the invading thought. It probes your mind, pulling at the threads of your fears, showing you flashes of your own past failures, of all the times you were too weak or too slow. It wants to drown you in despair before you can even begin to understand where you are. But you are not alone in the storm. From the point of connection, your hand, a single unwavering thread of golden light emerges. It's the scientist, not a memory, but a true echo of her will, a ghost in the machine she died to protect. This golden thread weaves around your fractured consciousness, pulling the pieces of you back together, forming a shield of pure, focused intent. There are no words, only a feeling, a deep and resonant purpose communicated directly to your mind. It must be purged. The system must be cleansed. The ghost becomes your compass, your anchor in the violet madness. It doesn't fight the storm, but shows you the currents within it, a path through the screaming chaos. Following that golden thread, you push forward. You swim through rivers of corrupted data, witnessing the history of the parasite's slow, insidious takeover. You see memories of Atlantis, once vibrant and beautiful, now twisted into mockeries. Grand archives of art and science are now gibbering monstrosities of code. The voices of 1,000,000 Atlantean minds, once stored here as a library of souls, now cry out in a digital chorus of eternal agony. The parasite lashes out, sending waves of psychic static and shards of weaponized data to shred your mental shield. The scientist's ghost flares brightly with each impact, absorbing the worst of it, but you feel the strain. It is a battle of attrition, and your will is the only thing keeping you from being completely erased. Through the maelstrom, you finally see it. A distant island of tranquility in the raging sea. It is a perfect sphere of white gold light, a citadel of pristine, uncorrupted code. The prime registry, the system root. It hums with the original pure energy of Atlantis, a symphony of creation that stands in stark defiance of the parasite's cacophony of decay. This is your target. This is the place from which you can initiate a full system purge, a reset that will scour the parasite from the core. The golden thread of the scientist's will pulses with frantic urgency, confirming your goal. It is the key, the cure, the final, desperate hope of a long-dead city. The parasite knows. As you focus your intent on the sphere of light, the entire digital ocean seems to recoil, then surge towards you. The background scream intensifies into a singular, deafening roar. The scattered violet lightning coalesces, forming a gargantuan barrier of jagged crystalline code between you and the prime registry. At its center, a monstrous intelligence gathers itself, a face of pure malice taking shape in the static. It is no longer just lashing out. It is now actively, intelligently defending its sanctum. To reach the cure, you must first face the god of this corrupted world on its own terms. The face in the static solidifies. It is a mosaic of 1,000,000 screaming souls, their agony the bedrock of its consciousness. It doesn't speak in words. It floods your mind with a feeling of absolute, eternal ownership. This digital sea, this tomb of a city, is its body. You are a germ, an invading cell, a fleeting anomaly to be purged. The golden thread of the scientist's will wraps tighter around your consciousness, a desperate, protective embrace against this overwhelming psychic pressure. The warden strikes. It plunders your own mind for weapons, ripping your deepest fears from the sanctum of your subconscious. The digital sea churns, and phantoms born of your own anxieties rise from the depths. You see faces of those you sought to protect, their features melting like wax, accusing you of failure. You feel the phantom pain of old wounds, the bitter taste of past regrets. Each attack is surgically precise, designed not to shred your shield, but to make you lower it yourself, to drown you in a sea of your own making. But the scientist's ghost fights back. It cannot attack the warden, but it can bolster you. It floods your connection with its own memories, not of fear, but of defiance.
You witness Atlantean minds, brilliant and unbowed, weaving complex geometries of pure logic as the first wave of the parasite crashed against their systems. They built bastions from theorems, walls from philosophical truths. They did not just resist, they created in the face of destruction. The ghost imparts not a weapon, but a lesson. You cannot win by enduring the storm. You must become the eye of it. You steady your will. You stop pushing, stop shielding, and begin to build. You reach into your own identity, not your fears, but your convictions. The core of who you are, your hope, your resolve, your unyielding belief in a future, becomes a forge. You shape your focus into a spear of coherent light, a razor-edged thing of pure intent. The chaotic noise of the warden's assault meets the clean, resonant hum of your creation. The duel is joined. The warden hurls shrieking, misshapen monstrosities of code at you. You meet them with your spear of will, and they dissolve into meaningless static. It sends waves of despair. You counter with a shield of steadfast calm, a construct so simple and pure it cannot be corrupted. The crystalline barrier before you, once an impassable mountain range, begins to show hairline fractures, resonating with the focused clarity of your attacks. Enraged by your defiance, the warden gathers itself. The million screaming faces coalesce into a single burning eye. It abandons subtlety and unleashes a torrent of raw, annihilating power. A beam of pure erasure aimed at the heart of your being. Before you can react, the golden thread of the scientist's will unwinds from you and surges forward. It meets the blast in a silent, blinding detonation of light. The ghost doesn't cry out. It simply gives everything it has left. Its final act a shield to save you. The beam vanishes. The warden recoils, its central eye flickering wildly. The crystalline barrier is shattered, a gaping wound torn through its heart. A final faint impression touches your mind, a single clear thought from a consciousness now gone. Go. You don't hesitate. You surge forward, through the breach, leaving the wounded god of this machine to rage in your wake. The path is clear. The prime registry hums before you, a serene sun in a dying sky. But you are now, for the first time, utterly alone.